I'm at a loss for words, to be completely honest with you. This is just a bad baseball team. Coming into the year, we had high hopes, lots of expectations. It was looking like a good team. You had young talent down in the minor leagues to come up and contribute. And here we are, 29-34, 5 games under 500. Final score tonight, Angels winning 4-3 in extra innings. Another one-run loss. That's the 17th one-run loss on the year. Errors galore tonight. Missed opportunities everywhere. Even Alex Cora, after the game tonight, post-game show, looking absolutely defeated, looking like he has no more answers. He doesn't know what else to do. We were hearing just such a different tone from Alex Cora not too long ago. Go back maybe a couple of weeks ago. He's saying, I like the way these guys are playing. I like the way they're battling, right? He was giving the moral victories. And then we start to see a bit of a shift saying, there's no more moral victories, right? We got to start winning games. And then tonight, he's coming out here, he is taking accountability. That was one difference that I'm noticing with Alex Cora tonight with his post game. You just heard him not too long ago on the radio saying, someone asked him about his job security, and he said, no, not really worried about it. It's not really my place to worry about it. And now you're seeing where he's saying, at some point, some of this has to be on him. And I'm glad that he is, taking the accountable approach right there. And he kept saying, too, we keep seeing the same thing over and over again. Hello, I've been saying this for weeks. How long have I been saying this now? It's the same thing. When are we going to see changes? You're doing the same approach at the plate. There doesn't seem to be any adjustments at all, whether with the offense, with lineups, with the pitching staff. It's like you keep attacking the same exact way. I've been saying this for over a couple of weeks now. I feel like I've been saying this for the entire month of May, it feels like. And now I'm seeing the guys on Nesson on the postgame show saying, when are there going to be changes? When are there going to be adjustments? Listen, I'm not trying to, take the victory here, but I've been saying this for a long time. And the fact that, people are finally starting to come around to this, there's no adjustments with this team. It's the same approach. You're swinging out of your shoes. You're not going for contact, right? I go back to this past offseason, or go in spring training. Can't fully remember when it was. Jim Rice giving, some advice to one of the younger players. And then someone on the coaching staff telling Jim Rice, oh, hey, that's not how we do things. Man, doesn't that look pretty interesting now? Doesn't that look pretty hilarious right now? I'm sure Jim Rice is laughing his way to the bank. I mean, really, because you don't see those adjustments, right? When you have someone like Jim Rice, a legend, and you don't want to listen to him, and now you see these problems unfolding right in front of your eyes over the past month, just swinging for the fences constantly. Not trying to play small ball, right? You're just taking that same drive line approach where you're just trying to take as many swings as you can, and you're just trying to get the hardest possible contact. It's all about the exit velocity. And you see that tonight. Well, there's a few instances of it tonight. I appreciate people are, finally starting to come around, with some accountability. I appreciate that. But enough is enough. And you're 5 games under 500 here. You were a better team last year at this point without, a couple of months, over, a month and a half of Alex Bregman, without Garrett Crochet, without Aroldis Chapman, without Justin Wilson. You were a much lesser team last year, but you were a better team. This year, I don't know what's going on. And, I keep hearing the same thing. Oh, the team's young. It's so many young players. All right, sure. But at the same time, you're Major League Baseball players. I get it. You're going to have a moment here and there, but you shouldn't be having moments like this consistently. You shouldn't be making these many mistakes in the field, on the base paths. At what point are we going to drop the very young excuse? You're Major League Baseball players. The Red Sox, they have touted themselves as, they're so advanced when it comes to, what they're doing behind the scenes, right? The use of the analytics. Well, that's not looking very good right now. I don't know, man. At some point, you can't just keep using that we're young. I get it. Yes, you have young players, but, you're major leaguers. I don't know, man. It's just frustrating. And then, Roman Anthony tonight going yard again at AAA. I mean, how much more do you need this guy to work on hitting breaking pitches in the zone? I don't know. I don't know what to say. I really don't. It's just frustrating, and I don't mean to come on here and just be frustrated. We're all frustrated, right? This is a team that should be winning games. I could keep ranting, but let's get to the post-game breakdown. So another bad loss here for tonight. Let's kind of go through this. Right? We'll go inning. We'll go the key innings here. Second inning, Toro with a walk. Seti with a double to left center. Now, this is where immediately I'm thinking, what are we doing, right? And it's not just, you can't be using the young player excuse, the youth, we're young. There's been countless times we have seen, bad decisions on the base paths, whether that's a coach's decision or whatever it may be. I didn't like this. Toro at first base does not exactly have blazing speed. He's not exactly like, David Ortiz out there, but this is a guy that's trying to score from first. And I get it. There were a couple outs there, but you had Jarren Duran coming up who had a hard hit ball in his first AB. Sure, he was out, but you saw the game Jarren Duran had tonight. He's been looking great. He's been looking good as of late. Why take the bat out of his hands in that situation? You could have had runners at, second and third, Jarren Duran up, who's been hot lately. Sorry, to me, I know people might say, "Oh, you got to be aggressive there. It's hard to score runs right now for this team." Well, hey, they scored runs last night. It's, once again, the inconsistencies coming into play. But to me, I would have held there, and I would have had the hot bat of Jarren Duran getting a chance. Top of the third. Let's talk a little Brayan Bello, shall we? Brayan Bello, we'll break him down in just a little bit, but he lacked command early on. Joe Adell with a hit by pitch. Taylor with a walk. And then Nato with a base hit that made it 1-0. Left a sweeper right over the plate. But on this awful throw from Seti in the outfield, hey, Cedam Rafael, a great game for tonight, but this is where you need to be firing on all cylinders, and little mistakes like this can come back to haunt you. Just made a bad throw, overthrew the catcher. But, also Brayan Bello, Will Middlebrooks was talking about this, where you have to be in a better position as the pitcher, backing up the catcher, because the runners from the Angels, they ended up moving over to second and third, right, setting up the Nolan Schanuel base hit. They made it 3-0. It was a good changeup, got it pretty low, but Nolan Schanuel, this guy's a good hitter. Made it 3-0, right? So you're seeing the bad throw, Brayan Bello not really backing up where he should, and that made it a 3-0 game. Third inning, right? This is where the Red Sox did get some things going. Wong had a base hit. Christian Campbell, with just the weirdest double ever, had a ground ball high hopper. It went over the first baseman, went all the way down the line. So Christian Campbell making some hard contact there. Jarren Duran, like I said, good night for him. He was making hard contact all night. First opposite field double to left center off the monster, made it 3-1. I actually thought Joe Adell was going to have this one. Maybe he misjudged it a little bit. I thought maybe he had a shot at it, but maybe he just didn't quite know where the wall was behind him. I don't know. But this is where the Red Sox, I feel like, really missed an opportunity. You only scored one here. Duran, KC on second and third, Raffy with a K. Ref Snyder got walked on 4 pitches, right? Yusei Kikuchi, the lefty. You never want to go up against, the Babe Ruth against lefties over here. Worked around him, gave the walk. But then Romy, I get it. He just came back. But, it was just really the lack of swings from Romy in this, right? Second pitch was right down the middle, really, with a fastball. To me, I'm swinging. Third pitch, a little up, but still, I feel like a pitch you could have made a swing on. I feel like, wasted opportunity there. You really could have added some on. Let's go to the top of the fifth. Brayan Bello, the defense. running into trouble yet again. Nato with a base hit. Seanwell, ground ball up the middle, but then Christian Campbell with the bobble. Unable to really make the play you wanted on that one. And now the Red Sox, they lead all of Major League Baseball in errors. I'm not the biggest error guy. I'm more of an outs above average kind of a guy. I'm kind of the nerd there, but still errors, I still think have a proper place, right? With errors, it's basically you make mistakes on the balls that you get to. Outs above average, or those are the plays that you're getting to those balls and you're making good plays out of them. So for me, that's where I kind of lean towards outs above average. But still, errors, you can't be making mistakes. You can't be making mistakes, right? Trout with the ground out. Did strike out Ward on the slider. And then for Soler, it was a ball that just went foul. Abraham Toro, shout out to him because he just let it go foul there. So good for him for not trying to make the play. But then Brayan Bello got the big strikeout. Fastball down in the zone. First time Brayan Bello has been able to go 5 innings in what feels like 8 years. Holy cow, Brayan Bello. My goodness, I can't believe it. Bottom of the 6th. And overall, Brayan Bello going 6 innings tonight. A much better start for Brayan Bello over the last couple. Bottom of the 6th here. Story with the walk. Seti with the home run to tie the game. Again, great game for Cedar Rafaela. That tied at 3-3. 8th inning. Trevor Story getting on, but then Wong with a double play. Missed opportunities here, right? Especially to get some momentum going. 9th inning. This is where we really had some opportunities. Christian Campbell with the walk. Pinch runner. David Hamilton steals second. Duran with a flyout. Intentional walk to Raffy. Willier with a strikeout. Willier Brayu's been ice cold. Also, I have the wrong score up. I apologize about that. We are an absolute mess. I apologize about that. Holy cow. My goodness. We're all a mess tonight. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Willier with the strikeout. He's been ice cold as of late. And to me, I noticed one little thing. I feel like the swing, I don't know if it's just the angle of the bat. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not an expert by any means, but the angle of the bat looks a little off to me. I'm not sure if there's something mechanical that he's fighting through right now, but I feel like lately he's just not catching up to the fastballs. Or it's weird. It feels like he is catching up to them. He's just swinging through them all the time. So I wonder if there's a bit of a mechanical thing with the swing going on, but he's been ice cold. Romy with the ground out. This is where I would have had Marcelo Meyer pinch hit, to be completely honest. I would have rather have the lefty up against the righty, Kenley Jansen. Or what it was Kenley. Yeah, it was Kenley Jansen in there. To me, Romy Gonzalez, sure, he has hit righties well this year, but you got to remember, this guy just came back from the IL. I would have had Meyer go in there, give him a spot. This is a guy that's been pretty cool under pressure. He's had some big moments down in AAA. I feel like that would have been a nice spot for Marcelo Meyer to come in. Yeah, it's Kenley Jansen, one of the best closers of all time, but why not give the kid a shot? That's just me. 10th inning, once Zach Kelly came in, I wasn't very confident at that point. Richard Fitz got option, had the bad start yesterday. I saw people talking today about Richard Fitz saying, they basically rushed him back. It's kind of tough to see Fitz going back down. He just didn't look right yesterday. He was just missing spots, leaving pitches all over the plate. I don't know, just kind of a bummer to see Fitz go down like that. And Zach Kelly, he has not gotten the job done this year. He loaded the bases. Now, you did get a double play, and this was a discussion among the broadcast crew saying that, maybe you could have had the runners in that spot to maybe try and make a play at home. Funny enough, ended up being a ground ball to third. They get the double play, which, hey, good play there, but the runner scored. So I feel like you can make an argument both sides, but I pay more to Will Middlebrooks. Will Middlebrooks is so good, man. He talked about this on the postgame show on the main NESN broadcast, saying that if you are going to do that, well, this is where maybe you got to play a little small ball in the bottom half, right? You got the ghost runner on, maybe bunt the runner over, and try and get that runner in, right? If you're going to make that sacrifice in the top half, bases loaded, you choose to go for the double play, you end up getting it. Well, now you got to make some kind of a sacrifice of your own. And I feel like the Red Sox lacked that personally. So again, I just feel like there were some questionable calls again with Alex Cora. That's just me though. I mean, what do I know? I'm a doofus that sits at my desk, but I would have had Marcelo Meyer pinch hit. I would have tried to, get that runner in a little bit, play a little small ball, lay down that bunt, right? Try and get a fly out, ground out, tie the game, right? Again, you made a sacrifice to get the double play. You got to kind of make up for it in the bottom half. That's just me though. Overall, and then Reed Detmers came in and shut it down. What can you do? Again, this is just a team that we got bamboozled, I think. I think we got straight up bamboozled, right? That's one of my favorite words of all time. But I don't know, did we? Because coming into the season, man, this season was looking very promising. It wasn't just us. It wasn't just Red Sox fans. It was fans all over the land saying, wow, the Red Sox, they look really good, right? You brought in Bregman and Crochet. You're thinking, all right, here we go. And then, sure, again, you got some youth, right? You had a big injury with Bregman. I get it. But I don't know, man. Like, I just feel like there's so many times where we're in these games. Look at all the one-run losses. You're in the games, but why aren't you capitalizing, right? Again, I don't think you can use the age as an excuse. I feel like at the end of the day, it's all about execution. I mean, look at Jackson Merrill last year. Jackson Merrill was a man on fire last year with the Padres. Age didn't seem to be a factor for him. I mean, I don't know. To me, it's just all about getting a good game plan. You have the talent. It's about executing, right? And I feel like the coaches that are there, their job is to get the best possible talent out of you, or to put you in the best situations for you to use your talent. Yes, the player has to execute at the end of the day. And yes, the other teams are going to make adjustments. They're going to be on top of their scouting reports. I get that. But that's where you have to make adjustments as an organization. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you're just looking silly. And I don't like the youth excuse, because there's so many good young players across Major League Baseball right now. I don't like hearing about it, man. I don't like hearing about it. But let's get to Brayan Bello. But before we get to Brayan Bello, we do have our sponsor for tonight.
FT fan by now, if you're buying, selling, trading, collecting cards, Arena Club is the spot. We've been talking about them all season long, but I do want to focus on the slab pack experience, Kratz, since you've been ripping some slab packs digitally. And what happens?
I mean, as a kid, you wanted to rip open the packs. How can they do this digitally? Oh, baby. This is exciting. How the graphics come out and everything. And, oh, yeah, the card that you pull, you can actually get that, John, physically. So it's perfect. It's all in one place, and it's a super exciting experience.
Yeah, they send that to you from the vault if you want it. But if you look at it and you're like, it's not the card for me, I want to sell back, go for it. You can do any of that on Arena Club, and you can acquire the best value for your money with those slab packs, transparent checklists, and Arena Club's Slab Safe program. Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/FAL and use code FAL. arenaclub.com/FAL, use code FAL.
All righty, let's get to Brayan Bello, shall we? And Brayan Bello, like I said, excuse me, a better night for tonight. He has looked better over the last couple of starts. He's been pitching more from the stretch, and I think that's helped him simplify things. But where he's running into some issues is there's still a lot of predictability with him. Right now, sure, 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned, 2 walks, 4 Ks on the night. Again, first time getting through at least 5 innings in a month. That's bonkers. But again, tonight, falling behind in counts. He's throwing a lot of pitches in certain innings. He's not getting guys to chase. Right now, the league average outside swing percentage is 31%. Brayan Bello is at 27.5% according to Fangraphs. I mean, he's just not getting those swing and misses. He's not getting guys. He's not fooling guys out there. And a big key, or I don't say a key, but a big reason for that is he's lacking a changeup this year, right? The movement's down on it. It's getting hit more. He's not getting as many whiffs. To me, I just feel like he's a little too predictable. He went with a lot of sinkers and sweepers tonight. He was able to get through, so credit to him. But for him to, get back to this guy that's going out there going, 7 innings, 1 earned, 7 shutty, limiting the hits, he's got to get back to really, opening up that repertoire of pitches. So he just doesn't feel intimidating out there to me. He feels like a 4th or 5th starter. Again, he lacks command at times. He's not pounding the zone. And that's another thing. He's getting guys to try and, fool them, but he's not fooling them. He doesn't have enough really right now to fool them with. He's not getting ahead in counts. I don't know. It feels like just something is missing with him. And again, it's really the array of pitches that he has had in the past, right? But really the changeup, I think, is where he's lacking. So again, it's something where he's got to get in the lab and figure it out. It feels like we're getting better, though. Let's see how he does here over the next few starts. So let's get to a couple shout-outs. Here. There were some good things tonight. Like I said, Brayan Bello, right? Finally getting over the 5-inning hump. You got to love that. But again, 6 innings. He had a quality start at the end of the day. Quality start. Seti, big game for him tonight. 3 for 5, homer, double, 2 RBIs. But, I hate to bring up the negative, right? The shout-outs that I like to give, right? I like to focus on the positives, but, had the bad play out there. But offensively, this guy's been very good. He's been very productive here over the last few games. And shout out to the bullpen as well. Zach Kelly ran into a little trouble, but still, even with Zach Kelly, at least he got the double play. I'll give him that. But still, I am not confident when he's on the mound. But a lot of credit, Greg Weissert, Garrett Whitlock, Chapman. They locked it down, right? They gave the team a chance to win. Let's get to the Game 3 preview, shall we? And listen, when it comes to the matchup for tomorrow, I'm feeling a little weird about it, ladies and gentlemen. Feeling a little weird about this one. Feeling a little weird. Lucas Giolito, he's been very up and down this year, going up against Jose Soriano. Now, with Lucas Giolito, last start against the Braves, right, ended up getting pulled a little early. I saw people not very happy about that decision. I was kind of okay with it, to be honest with you, right? It ended up leading to a win, but Giolito was giving up a lot of hard hit balls in that last start. So the time he got pulled, I personally was fine with, right? But still, you want him to go deeper. He looked very good against the Orioles his last time out. He went 7 innings, 0 earned, right? Had 6 Ks. So let's see what happens here. Now, the only problem that I have here is that a lot of these guys have seen Giolito. So that makes me a little worried, right? Jorge Soler, 26 ABs against him. Rengifo with 10 ABs. Trout, not a lot of success, but he has seen him a lot. Does have a home run against him. Taylor Ward, 2 homers against him. So, and also get it back to Soler. He has 3 home runs against him. So the key for Giolito, as always, right, he's got to keep the ball down. And if he is going to go up, it's got to be in a good moment where you're fooling some guys, right? He has gone up in the zone, like with sliders and whatnot. He just can't make mistakes on those kind of pitches, right? And obviously that goes for any pitcher out there. But against Jose Soriano, there's not a whole lot of experience against him. He is having himself a pretty solid year. 12 starts, ERA at a 3.41, FIP at a 3.75. You're going to see a lot of sinkers from him. Expect a lot of ground balls. He's in the 99th percentile in Major League Baseball right now. He's got very good velocity. The key for him, really, and the key for the Red Sox, I mean, if they're going to be hammering the balls into the ground, right, this is where I think you need to focus on trying to get advancing those runners. You're not really going to get a lot of fly balls against him, but he is a guy that lacks command, so I think the Red Sox really need to work the counts, try and just get these runners over, right? Get guys on, move them over, have the sacrifice ground outs if that helps you out. Maybe even lay down some bunts along the way and try and get to the bullpen, right? Try and get them out of this game a little early. I think that's the big key. But if you are with me on NESN, I am going to wrap it up right there. We're going to finish up over on YouTube. So if you want to come watch the rest of this, come on over to YouTube, and we'll see you next time, NESN viewers. But let's wrap it up here over on YouTube. Everybody, Roman Anthony. When's Roman Anthony coming up? I don't know when Roman Anthony's coming up, but we got one more thing to do here before we talk about Roman Anthony, and that's just our last sponsor for the night.
Hey, if you want to keep the conversation going after a show that you're listening to on the FT network, then head to Chat BCC. AJ's on there.
I'm on there right now, typing away. I'll be there. We'll be there all the time, talking about what topics people want to discuss, what everyone wants to hear us talk about on Foul Territory.
Yeah, if you have a question, we can answer it on FT or on an FT team show on the network. So if you want to come crash our group chat, it's as easy as sending a text. Head to foulterritory.chat to start chatting with FT hosts and the FT fam.
All righty. Let's get to Roman Anthony, shall we? Let's get to Roman Anthony. Now, we're all waiting for the call. We're all waiting for the call, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what else this man needs to do to get the call. I really don't. But Roman Anthony going deep again tonight. I mean, what else is there to say? What else is there to say? 428-foot home run for Roman Anthony tonight, 110.5 miles an hour off the bat. If you are with me here on YouTube, you can see it. It was a breaking ball, right? Well, they did say that they want him to work on hitting breaking balls in the zone. Well, that looked like it was in the zone, if you ask me. I mean, I don't know, unless my eyes are deceiving me. But that was a breaking ball right there. I don't know what else the Red Sox need to see. You know, people keep bringing up the whole service time thing, right? You know, I've seen people say they're scared to death of him winning Rookie of the Year because if he ends up winning Rookie of the Year, he gets a year of service time, which gets him to free agency closer, or it gets him closer to free agency, right? Usually players have 3 years of pre-arbitration, 3 years of arbitration. But if he comes up and wins Rookie of the Year, well, he'll gain a full year of service time. So still, man, you know, you just saw the Royals call up Jack Caglione. And they just drafted this guy. They just drafted Jack Caglione this past year. I get it, right? Caglione, the guy was a monster at Florida. He was a top 10 pick. I think he was the number 6 pick. So, yeah, I mean, Roman, right? He was drafted later on when he got picked. But what are we doing? You know, the Royals, they're trying to win. You know, and you got like someone like David Sampson out there today saying, oh, why are they calling him up, right? If you're in the front office, you should be trying to gain that extra year of service time, right? And it's like, goodness gracious, man. It's like, I don't know, man. David Sampson, you know, he does have a lot of knowledge when it comes to, you know, everything that happens within front offices, right? He was in that world for so long, right? He was obviously a very high-ranking member of the Marlins. But to me, just saying stuff like that, it's like I get what he's saying, but at the same time, man, you know, listen, you're here to win games. You're here to put the best possible team on the field. And when it comes to the Red Sox, there just seems to be a lack of urgency this year. You know, Craig Breslow said today pregame, you know, the first thing to do, you know, we need to take a deep breath. All right. Well, yes, of course. Right. You know, take a breath, try and get your mind right. You know, he wasn't saying, he was more saying that to just that way you can get the right thinking in gear. But to me, it's like, you know, we keep seeing the excuses. We're seeing take a deep breath. What are we doing? Put the best team on the field to try and win games. There's no excuse for Roman Anthony to be down at AAA. I've been saying this for weeks. You know, I think there was an argument that Roman Anthony should have been on the team opening day. That's just me. I mean, I don't know. What can you do? But Roman Anthony going deep again. We'll see. Will he get called up for the Yankee series? I don't know. The guys over on the Fenway Rundown, Chris Cotillo, Sean McAdam. Also, I talked with Chris Cotillo today. If you didn't see that, go check it out after we're done here with the post game. I also uploaded it in podcast format, so if you want to go listen to that, that is available. But he was telling me today that, you know, they were talking on the Fenway Rundown the other day, and he brought up a very interesting fact that it's kind of true, that the Red Sox, they usually like to have, who knows if they actually like to do this or if it's a coincidence, but a lot of their guys debut on the West Coast. And I was like, that's interesting. Never thought of that, right? I go back to Dustin Pedroia back in the day, 2006. Dustin Pedroia making his debut in Anaheim. I'm like, oh, he mentioned that. He mentioned, you know, some other guys too. When I thought about Pedroia, I'm like, oh my God, it goes all the way back to then. I don't know if there's anything to that or if that's just a major coincidence. I have no idea. But it is true. Anyway, Roman Anthony, will he get called up when they go on the West Coast? I don't know. I think you should bring him up for the Yankee series, to be honest with you. That's just me. But everybody, I'm going to wrap it up right there. Thank you for joining me tonight for the post-game show. Once again, another depressing post-game show, another down one. What can you do? What can you do? I mean, hopefully, maybe they can rattle off a win streak here and we can have some fun. But at this point, I'm starting to get myself geared up, not just for the Major League Baseball trade deadline in general, which is that's a big time of the year for my main channel. But at this point, I'm starting to get myself ready that it might be a busy one for the Boston Red Sox as well. I could go 3 hours right now talking about possible trades and moves that they could make if they end up becoming big sellers. But I don't got the time for tonight. We will definitely be digging into trade stuff over the next several weeks. Who knows if that's going to be as buyers or sellers. But right now, it's not looking great to be buying. Selling is, it's looking like it's right there in our near future. But maybe they could turn this around, but we've been saying that for weeks now. Is it going to happen? I don't know. At this point, doesn't seem like it. I hope I'm wrong. But everybody, go enjoy the rest of your night. Hopefully they can salvage the series tomorrow before they go to the Bronx. Everybody, go have yourself a good rest of your night, and I'll talk to you next time.